Let's go. Hey. Let's go. My God is the biggest, you not on this level. I slide on the demon, I stump on the devil. I slide through the hood and my God who I tell him I could've been stuck, but look, I took a better route. My God is the biggest, he bigger than big. He bigger than big. My God is the biggest, he bigger than big. He bigger than big. My God is the biggest, you not on this level. I slide on the demon, I stump on the devil. I slide through the hood and my God who I tell him I could've been stuck, but look, I took a better route. My God is the biggest, he bigger than big. He bigger than big. My God is the biggest, he bigger than big. He bigger than big. Look, my God is the biggest, you know I'm living. Yeah, I was just sinning, but now I'm forgiven. The devil's defeated, just look how I'm winning. Evangelist done, but I'm far from finished. My heart full of faith, no, I never been timid. No, we not the same, you know that I'm different. Walking on water, yeah, you know he dripping and tripping. I'm made in his image. It feel good when you come from the bottom and then you make it all the way to the top. That's what happen, you trusting in God. You know he the biggest, he can't be stopped. Time running now, keep your eyes on the clock. Their hands is moving and ticking and top. They wanna rock, but I wanna give them the rock. My God is the biggest, you not on this level. I slide on the demon, I stump on the devil. I slide through the hood and my God who I tell him I could've been stuck, but look, I took a back. Check. What's up? It's your boy, the evangelist Najee Dunn, and this is the God is the biggest chat. I had something like special plan. Like I went to Walmart twice and I forgot the mustard seed. I wanted to start with my hand up like this, and I was supposed to say, this seed is a small seed. But God doesn't see limits. He sees potential. And I just wanted to like come with that dramatic effect simply because that's what we talking about. No matter how small it is, no matter how big it is, God does not see limits. There is no limit to the God we serve. There is you hear me clearly. There is no limit to the God we serve. So why do we keep putting boundaries on a limitless God? I don't know. So today, what I want to do is we're going to break the chains of small thinking and proving that God's power has no limit. His power has no limit. Let's take the limits off of God. And that's what God is the biggest is about. That's what the God is the biggest chat is about. It's about every day we're striving to take the limits that we place on a limitless God. Isaiah 59 verse 1, it says, surely the arm of the Lord is not too short to save, nor his ear is too dull. Like, come on, like there is, I can't explain it. Like, there is no limit to the God we serve. So why do we limit this God, or how do we limit God? How do we put the limit on him? You know how? We place our fears, our doubts, our past disappointments. We do all of those stuff and we place a limit on him. And it's like, man, I've failed at this before. I don't think God could do something new. I'm gonna speak for me, because sometimes we have a big perspective of the limitlessness of God. We have a big perspective of how big God could truly be. But the thing about that is, okay, we believe him for the big things, but sometimes we don't even believe him for the small things. Okay, we believe that God could do this thing for us, but we don't believe that he could cure a headache for us. So we run to the Tylenols and we run to like those quick fixes because we're like, you know what? I got this, God, like in a sense. And lately I've been convicted with that because it's like I don't want to say I have asthma, and because asthma does not have me and I don't have asthma. But sometimes I struggle with
my breath or breathing, and it's been a struggle most of my life. And it's like I run to this thing right here, this inhaler. I'm so quick to run to this inhaler instead of saying, you're the one that blew breath in my body in the first place. I put no limit that you can blow the breath into my body right now, Lord. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. I'm trying to. We're gonna really dissect and take the chains off a limitless God. We just diving straight in. Let me get my Bible together. I wanna take this from Numbers. We're gonna go to Numbers, y'all. We're gonna go to Numbers 13. We're gonna go to Numbers 13, verse 26. We're gonna read from verse 26 to 33. Yeah, I'm a Bible nerd. Y'all gotta excuse me. But it's nothing better to explain his limitless power than to just seek his word. Seek this right here. This is so important. This right here is a reminder that he's limitless. So Numbers 13 verse 26 says, we're going from verse 26 to verse 33. Yeah. The men went back to Moses. Aaron and the entire Israelite community in the wilderness of Paran and Kadesh. They brought back a report for them and the whole community, and they showed them the fruit of the land. They reported to Moses, "We went into the land where you sent us. Indeed, it is flowing with milk and honey, and here is some of its fruit. However, the people living in the land are strong, and the cities are large and fortified. We also saw the descendants of Anak. There the Amalekites are living in the land of Negev, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live by the sea and along the Jordan." Then Caleb quieted the people in the presence of Moses and said, "Let's go up now and take possession of the land, because we can certainly conquer it." This is what Caleb said. Caleb said, listen, we could conquer this thing. Let's go up now and take possession of the land, because we can certainly conquer it. But the men who had gone up with him responded, "We can't attack the people because they are stronger than us." What? So they gave a negative report to the Israelites about the land. They had scouted. The land was passed through to explore, is one that devours its inhabitants, and all the people we saw in it are men of great size. They started to talk about, okay, the people are too big. We can't, God, they're too big for the promise. Like I know you, Moses, I know you say God promises this land. I know this is what he's saying, but the people are too big. How could you think that people are too big for God to move? So this is where they started to doubt the promise of God, because it seemed a little too hard. It seemed like, hold on, you said this is for me, but it's like somebody's occupying my space. You can't give up when God told you something is for you. You can't give up because you see somebody else occupying that space. All that means is get ready. Get ready. He's about to do something new. Even when we look at Abraham, he believed God promises of descendants as countless as the stars. That sounds impossible to me. Even when we think about how old Abraham was a very old man, and to say that It's like, could I even have one child? Could I even have one? But you're saying I'm going to have descendants as numerous of the stars. But despite his age, he believed. Despite his age, he believed. And listen, that shows you that his plans aren't restricted by your reality. I need you to get this. Even if you don't write down anything, repeat this. God's plans. God plans are not restricted by my reality. It doesn't matter how it looks today. It doesn't matter even how it would look tomorrow. But if you know God told you something, his plan is not restricted by your reality. His plan is not restricted by someone's no. A person no cannot outweigh God. Yes, I need you to understand that God's power is limitless. Even when we think about the mustard seed, and I told you I was supposed to be holding the mustard seed in my hand and explaining this, because when you look at the mustard seed versus the mustard tree, man, somebody already got a revelation just now. When you look at the mustard seed versus a mustard tree, it's like, what? How could something so big come from something so small? And that's what I want to get to your ears right now. How could something so big come from something so small? Take some notes from the mustard seed. Take some strategy from the mustard seed. It doesn't let its size limit to what it could produce. Don't let your bank account limit you to what you can produce. Don't let your environment limit you to what you can produce. With God, it is a limitless thing that you can do. If he called you to it, you can do it. But nothing will move unless you do. You have to move. You have to move. You have to move. You have to get it done. You have to keep going. You have to just do as God has called you to do. And even when Jesus said faith is small, as this mustard seed can move mountains. Listen, God's power does not stop at the mountain. It transforms the size of your seed into a tree. Oh man, the mustard seed grows into a tree where birds nest. The mustard seed, which means to tell me the thing that is in you, even though you may be so small, that thing that God has placed in you, that limitless God, taking those let's take the limits off of him and say, okay, God, you said this. I'm going to walk in this. That thing, when we think about the seed that turns into a tree that branches out and lets bird nest. So now that shows me your small prayers, your dreams, and obedience can become a shelter for generations. Just as the tree from a seed grows into a tree and branches out, and a bird is able to put their nest there. We are able to produce paper. We're able to produce so much stuff from trees, able to give us air. If that seed didn't grow into a tree, we wouldn't have air. Come on, y'all. I need you to get this. It's the thing that God hasn't in you is multi-purpose, which means that thing in you is limitless because you serve a limitless God. Has no limit. Your small prayers, your dreams, and your obedience can become a shelter for generations. That means somebody's waiting on you to take the limits off of the God that you serve. So I'm guilty of it. But I'm telling you, Big God Chat, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the limits off of God. Side note, no matter how many limits we put on him, He will always remain limitless. But for us to partnership or taste the limitlessness of him, we must free our minds. We must free our perspective. And how do we do that? The Bible says what? Be transformed by the renewing of our minds. Let's renew what we think. Let's get out of this fleshly thinking. Let's get out of our own way. Let's get out of God's way. And look at him the way he is. Let's see God for who he truly is. He's God. He's not like man. He is limitless. I can tell you so much of my story and me trusting God, and I mean it's so much that I can tell. Right now I'm talking to you in an answered prayer. I'm talking to you in this place because I was obedient. But I want you to understand, faith is us trusting God. But obedience shows God that he can trust us. So now that you have a perspective of his limitlessness, now that you know that God is not limited to one thing, I urge you to walk in obedience to what he is calling you to do. It was so hard for me and to do what God has called me to do. It was so hard for me to leave where I lived. It was so hard for me to leave my home, leave my job. It was so hard for me to take my family. It was so hard. He gave me the call as he called Abraham. And I've witnessed moments where I felt the way Moses and the Israelites has felt in the desert, where they saw God's hand, but it's like, okay, we saw him yesterday, but we're not sure if he could do this thing. I went from criticizing the Israelites to understanding what they went through. And I want you to have that perspective as well. So I want to encourage you to go ahead, read Exodus, read Numbers. Put yourself in their shoes, and you will really understand how much faith that they actually had. And God is calling you to have that same faith, that same trust, even sometimes when, okay, if we're being real, the limit is there. But you know what, God, I'll do it anyway. I'm scared. I admit it. But God, I'll do it. I'll do it anyway. I don't know if you could do it, but I'll do it anyway. And that's what I did. Many times I moved not really fully knowing if I truly believe if God could do it. But I'm like, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? I'd rather be obedient. I'd rather be obedient. Let me just be obedient. Let me just be obedient, Lord. So I want to encourage you to remove these limits, something that could help you to remove limits, and something that could help you to be obedient even when you still feel like your mind is cluttered with some limits. And that's pray boldly. Ask God for what seems impossible. Start to challenge this limitless God. All right, God. But beware. When you start to challenge God, he's going to start to challenge you. So you gotta, he gonna one up you every single time. You pray for patience. He's gonna put a test there. God, please give me patience. I know sometimes he's gonna put you in a traffic jam. He's gonna do something that's gonna test the patience. See, See, this is not like regular school where they give you a little classwork and he goes straight to testing. We get straight to the test. All right, you want this, because guess what? In the testing that's what's gonna build you every single time. And like I say, when you want to remove the limits, you got to first remove those limits from your mind. So you have to renew your mind. Replace I can't with God can. I can't. Okay, I can't do it. I might can't pay this bill today, but I know God can. If you leave it to me, I'll fail. But God won't fail. He said he'll never fail. He said he'll never leave me. He won't forsake me. I can't, but God can. And that's what you do. And you gotta surround yourself with people that believe in that. And that's what this is about. That's what the God is the biggest chat is about. About us surrounding ourselves with people that want to strive and take the limits off him. You have to surround yourself with a community when it comes to the thinking that you want to have. When it comes to breaking the limits off of God, you have to have some like-minded people that decide to say, you know what? I'm going to break the limits off of God as well. So I want you to tap in with this right here. Tap in with the God is the biggest chat right here. Tap in. This is the community you've been looking for. Sometimes you've been feeling like there's more to God than what you actually believe. Yeah, this is the community for you. If you want to see some things break, this is the community for you. If you want to have some more courage, or if you feel like you need to boost your faith, this right here, this is the community for you. God is the biggest chat. And I'm guess we gonna do it every Wednesday. I guess we gonna come up here every week for sure. Because I've been asking God, okay, what day? So you know what, y'all can meet me. I know it's a little early right now. It's a bit early, but I'm gonna say you meet me here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. We gonna lock in because God is the biggest, and we gonna do this right here, and we gonna take the limits, because it's so much more. It's so much more than just it's so much more than just finding out that your faith is so small. It's so much more, but we gonna tap in with it. So I want to encourage you to start measuring God by your measuring tape. He said in Isaiah, he said it. His arm isn't too short. Your faith is just stretching. His arm isn't short. So you could still believe. You could still believe for that thing. That thing that didn't happen, I encourage you, go back, pray. Tell God you want to believe in that again. Those words that people gave you that was prophesied to you from the mouth of heaven. Those things, you could believe in that again. It didn't happen before, but circle back. Circle back to it. I'm telling you, circle back to it. I want to encourage you today. God's arm is not too short. Let's take the limits off of God. Let's take the limits off of God. Let's take the limits off of God. So like I said, we're going to meet back here every single Wednesday at 7 p.m., y'all. At 7 p.m., I'm a log on. If I can't do a Wednesday, I'm going to log on early. I'm going to let y'all know. Y'all keep tuning into the God is the biggest chat. Share this video. Let people know we are taking the limits off of God. And again, if you didn't hear anything today, if you didn't hear anything today, I want you to really get this part. Stop measuring. Stop measuring God by your measuring tape. His arm isn't too long. Your faith is stretching. So come on, we're going to stretch our faith. I want you to say it with me. I will stretch my faith. I will stretch my faith. Make that declaration. We're going to replace I can't with God can. I can't pay the bills, but God can. I can't get a job, but God can help me get a job. I can't do the thing that He's called me to do, but God can. He can help me. He can help me. It's not about you. We feel like we can't do things when we think it's us doing them. It's not about you. It's not you. It's not. Get yourself out of the way. You can't, but God can. You can't, but God can. So I want to say thank y'all for topping in with me. Please click like, subscribe. If you're ready to stop limiting God, click like and subscribe. We're going to hit you with weekly faith boosters. Remember, Jeremiah 32:27. I am the Lord, the God of all mankind. Is anything too hard for me? Is anything too hard for God? Is anything? The answer is no. But listen, God is the biggest. Y'all already know what it is. Najee done the evangelist. Love y'all. Peace. Tune in next week. And we're going to take the limits. We're going to continue to take the limits off of God. I want to encourage you to finish your week strong and take those limits off of God. You could do it.